Good morning. Let's kick off DIA Munich. Who better to set the stage than Tom van der Brulle? Not only the global head of innovation at Munich Re, but also the chairman of the InsurTech Hub Munich that is hosting this edition of DIA together with us. What are the key trends in insurance and InsurTech for the coming years, and how should we respond? DIA co-founder Roger Peverelli will do his best to get insightful answers from Tom. But knowing Tom, he will add some provoking statements as well. Please welcome on stage, Tom van der Brulle.
Good to see you again, Tom.
Good to see you, Roger.
No, really perfect. And great that you're all here. I think it's been such a while since we've had the opportunity to meet in person. But how have you been over the last few years?
Well, look at me. It's actually interesting. I've already met so many friends, and some of them that I haven't seen in 2 years, and they look at me and think, he's not getting better. But that's what it is.
Well, I actually had great fun. I think last weekend I had the opportunity to go to a stadium again and watch a nice football match. Netherlands against Belgium.
Thank you. It was great to meet you all, and I'm off the stage.
Okay, well, sorry for that. Anyway, back to the subject.
The World Cup is still to come. Let's see how Netherlands is doing this time.
Well, you played much better, but then again you lost. Anyway, what takes place in the past 2 years? What have taken place? I think the first thing that is in our view a key trend is connected living. Think of all the wearables that we have, Fitbits, Apple Watches. Think of connected cars. Think of all the investments that we made to make our homes smarter and more intelligent. New data offering new opportunities. What is your take on that?
Well, tremendous opportunities, and technology seem now have to taken on and really be more commoditized and smoother to integrate in the value chain. So that's a great achievement. When you're mentioning wearables and that kind of data, we're yet to see the impact that it can give on life and health insurance. The behavioral change that a lot of these programs are suggesting doesn't really seem to bring up data that insurance company can use to change the good old loss picks and what we do, our biometrical assumptions. So that's one thing. The other thing is, they're just tremendous opportunities, and we're in an energy crisis. So sensor-based data and connected living will be one of the tools actually to manage our energy consumption in a more effective manner.
But I think that also relates very much to the financial situations of people. Financial planning is more and more an issue. Do you see any progress of insurers who take a role in that, very important part of life of their customers?
Yeah. As many of you know, I'm standing here also as chairman of the InsurTech Hub in Munich. So join us, InsurTech Hub. We've got a booth out there. I'm happy to discuss with our members and our future members. In the InsurTech Hub, we've done a whole sort of topic work around financial well-being and understanding how digitization, interaction with consumers can help consumers, can help investors to do this in a more efficient manner. And I think insurers are at the forefront. I think there is a big fight about who will lead these ecosystems, who can dominate the ecosystems. Will it be banks? Will it be insurers? Will it be brokers? Will it be digital techs and new techs? But that is a huge opportunity for all of us. I would think.
Yeah, I think so too. But over the last years, I've seen many banks investing in PFM tools, and lots of fintechs who gaining share in that area. And I hardly see any insurers who really make a significant step in that area. So I think there's a massive opportunity.
That is a massive opportunity. I think the opportunity needs to go through partnering with fintechs and partnering with tech companies. I don't think that insurers can do it by themselves. They have some of the data, but the customer interaction and understanding how to talk to the customer, how to support the customer in making better decisions, that's really something that we should discuss at this conference, and that newer, fresher InsurTech should probably teach us to some extent.
Well, on the one hand, I think that those InsurTechs, they are very capable and very focused on that, creating that customer excitement. On the other hand, what you guys are doing with the InsurTech Hub Munich, and that's something that we'll discuss also tomorrow in the afternoon, is thinking about the customer of the future, next customer, as you put it. Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, next customer is a big program coming up now. We have a huge demand of, and that shows also how relevant the topic is for the industry of, I think, more than, where are my ITHM team, can't see them, but they are in the back, hi. Of more than 200 InsurTechs, tech companies, not necessarily InsurTechs, by the way, focusing on the customer interaction, and we're going to take them through an acceleration program and really try and find the best way to interact with insurance companies and in the industry, but that's not. One is the accelerator program, and that's going to be exciting. But I think more interesting is even the discussions around this, how to shape this value chain in a different manner,
and how to turn it into a real day-to-day practice. Right? I think that over the last few years we saw that incumbents are really basically in every boardroom there's now a digital mindset. Everyone's convinced that we should move digital and we should move to data. But what is actually taking them to the next step, to really create things at scale and make sure that it really impacts the bottom and the top line?
I would distinguish three phases here. First of all is digital transformation. Digital transformation and how to just build the basis to interact with all the exciting startups that are going to pitch here at the conference that we're interacting with. How digitized is your value chain? How open is your IT architecture actually to accommodate interesting functionalities? First step. Second step is then really choosing the right ones. Trying to find what things do you need to do yourself, and where do you need to build data-driven or tech capabilities to build things on your own, and where can you bring other things in? And the third step is then, what is the platform you're doing it on? In my company, Munich Re, we're thinking very much about what is a marketplace, probably an API-based possibility to bring together providers of digital services, functionalities, and consumers of this. The insurance industry, bring them together with the tech industry, provide them with an API-based IT architecture, so it's an easy play, so that the entire industry can take the next steps. And these are three examples. But you have to say, in the boardrooms now, finally, everyone has understood. Okay, and I think the COVID accelerated this. There was an accelerator to it. Everyone understood. Okay, if we're not keeping up with that, we'll be left behind.
I think you mentioned the two steps. Perhaps there's even a third one, which is cooperation between insurers as a way to accelerate your own innovation efforts, gain more knowledge, and make sure that you are part of a bigger pool of expertise. I think that's basically also one of the big advantages of joining InsurTech Hub Munich, for instance.
Totally, and I didn't mention that, but I'm glad you do. I didn't mention that because it's not limited to digitization of your value chain. It can be on cyber, it can be on IoT, it can be on other things. So what the InsurTech Hub is doing, bringing together different perspectives on our business, academia, tech companies. We've got Microsoft. Where are they? We've got Google, for example. So a lot of NTT that are joining. Smaller corporates, more regional tech. So and and bringing this together. And this discussion must go on.
Yeah, I think especially for not just for the big multinationals that we all know, but especially the big domestic players and the smaller and mid-size, even niche players, they are able to benefit much more from all the accumulated knowledge that you have within that network.
Yeah, let's not. I was about to say talk too badly about them. We've got innovation champions, regional innovation champions
exactly.
also.
Yeah.
When you think of Münchner Verein, of LV 1871, where are they? I mean, they're coming up with knowing their customers so well, being curious about what can be done. They're coming up with very exciting, tremendous solutions, and also. Well, I consider Munich Re to be rather an incumbent and a bigger company where we can learn a lot from, and we're benefiting very much from this focused view on it.
So we discussed what takes place on the consumer side, what took place in incumbents' boardrooms. So how about InsurTech? Over the last few years, the landscape changed tremendously, and even if you look at the last 3 months. You see that valuations have dropped. It's more difficult to get funding. A shift to scale-ups, investments, venture capitalists focusing on consolidating their portfolio. So, what is your view on what things will look like in the coming year?
So first of all, we have to say, I mean, investment dropped in the first 2 quarters of 2022. In 2021, we were still going up, but also, to be fair, because a lot of follow-up investments on the big mastodons of InsurTechs had to be done, if you like. And I'm not spitting on anyone, but we're part of it. So the Lemonades, the Next, the Hippos, this kind of stuff. But there seems to be a shift. Do we think, it's a question, it's not yet a statement, but do we think that those concepts who 5 years ago promised or came with the aim to really revolutionize and by digitizing the insurance industry, have they been successful? And we have yet to see, I think, I'm interested in your opinion, we have yet to see a concept that really cracked the nut of redefining the customer interaction and make it truly digital. I've seen statistics the other day that acquisition costs over the last 10 years have not dropped. It's the other way around. They went slightly up. So there are niches and there are different segments, but that shows that acquisition costs have probably moved from agents and brokers rather to some of the big digital providers, platforms, Google's, or whatever it is. So that's one thing I would say.
I totally agree with you. Look at the volume that's still being sold via the traditional distribution channels, and also look at the profitability of those channels. I think there's a lot of room to invest there, and see how you can digitize those channels, make them more effective, more efficient, and make sure that you use their particular strength. And I think there's more future there, also on the short term, to create more change at scale than looking at what the disruptors can do.
But the industry has learned an awful lot in the last 2 years. So also when we look at the next Customer Next program that we're doing, the hybrid customer, how to intelligently mix digital interaction with the customer with human interaction. Because, I mean, probably when you're spending 300 euros on a homeowner's insurance, you can do it online. When you're spending 15,000 euros a year on health insurance, you're going to do a digital analysis. You want to look at aggregators. You're going to use all these digital tools, but you're going to talk to someone as well, because trust is more difficult to be built on a digital basis than humans can do it.
In many markets, in many generations, that's absolutely true. Yeah. Now looking at the InsurTech space, the movements in investments, but also the digital mindset that's now really there in boardrooms. How does that relate to corporate venturing? We see more and more incumbents actually creating new ventures themselves and even placing them outside their own organization, which we believe is the perfect breeding ground to really make them successful. But of course, that draws away investments from, for instance, specific challenges that you would like to invest in. How do you see that space developing?
Look, first of all, I have to confess I'm a fan of corporate venturing. We're doing a lot of this at Munich Re. We believe in it because we believe in the entrepreneurial power that you need to add to your initiatives in order to make them successful. So what we do is exactly that. We take ideas, business ideas, partners, data, company assets, and we're trying to build a business model around it. So we're moving away from building solutions to real own business models. I think that is the future, and I think I shouldn't be telling you, but I've been at Bits and Pretzels the other day, and we had exactly that conversation. Sorry for being with your competitor, but he is much nicer. And of course, there is always a discussion around, can corporate innovation be successful in the first place? Is that a suitable concept? And I think it can, for those who want to continue discussing with Munich Re about it. Come to our blue booth outside. Half of my team is there to defend that. I hope to defend that statement. But why? Because we've got data. I hope we've got expertise. We've got access to customers. We've got use cases. So that doesn't mean we're not working with tech companies, startups, entrepreneurial teams, freelancers, whatever it is. We need all these brains and to bring in. But I think we can add something to the table. And others, like AXA Kamet, for example, have done it in a very impressive way. And I think the insurance industry, as such, independently of what we are doing, needs to think in business models and needs to have the courage to come up with real new business models relevant to regain relevance again. Because if we're only staying where we are and all the rest we're investing, there is a danger of becoming irrelevant and not being in a dominant position anymore. That's my view on it.
What's holding them back then? Why are they not successful to date to realize those successful ventures themselves? Is it like the culture that is still too traditional within incumbents, or is it the different kind of talent that you need, or is it the kind of discussions that you always ignite when you start with a new idea, that you have to use the standard IT systems or the corporate brand, and you end up in all sorts of discussions?
Good question. I think it's a mixture of all. One thing we are finding in what we do, and happy to hear your opinions on it, is in a corporate, you don't find the same entrepreneurial profiles and talents that you would find out there. If I were a genuine entrepreneur, I wouldn't be standing here as a representing an incumbent. That's and you have to acknowledge that. So bring these people in and provide them with an environment where they can grow and where they're protected from corporate lunatics who come with IFRS 17 and whatever IT compliance. You know, at least the corporate people know what we're talking about. It's very important. So you need to provide them with a space where they can actually grow and be successful. The second thing just that is, and now it's becoming very corporate again, the interactions with your board, with your stakeholders, with the people that are in your company, that need to give you that protected space, and by the way, also the money, is very important. So let's say organizing this dialogue with the people who are really taking decisions at top level in the company, I think this is very important.
Are these also the kind of experiences that you share within the InsurTech Hub Munich among your members?
Well, no, we're not sharing it. We're discussing it.
Yeah.
We're really we're going into depth. We're trying to find out, okay, what works well, and sometimes it can be details. It can be small. Can be small formats that worked well. It can be interaction. You bring someone in from another company to talk to your stakeholders, so you can say, but they do the same thing and they think the same way. So that is very helpful. Yes.
You've been
at least it's been helpful for us.
You've been the chairman now of the InsurTech community for a number of years. What would be the top 3 lessons that you would like to share with the audience in that specific capacity? What you've learned personally from being so involved with the InsurTech Hub Munich?
But we didn't prepare that question.
No, we didn't.
Okay.
Sorry for that.
That's fine. But I prefer it to the football question. I think the biggest learning is calm down about competition. Competition and interacting with your competitors, with your peer, makes you stronger, not weaker. I think that's my key learning. And whether it's other incumbents, whether it's tech companies, whatever it is, be humble, talk to a startup, try and understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. Don't go there and say, yeah, but I'm big, whatever, Munich Regionale Versicherungskammer, and I know it better. This humbleness and exchanging and really listening to what matters. I think that's my biggest learning. I think the insurance industry has been obsessed with competition and not sharing insights, not sharing data as well, and that's something that I learned and I keep learning in this environment, InsurTech Hub or here or wherever it is.
I think this is also a great message for what takes place in these 2 days, and I think a great message for everyone in the room, so that they should keep their ears and eyes open. Be very humble, listen to what you can learn from, and thank you very much for this lesson.
Well, thanks for having me. Have a great conference.